Ah, it seems we have a guest with an intriguing destiny. Now then, why don't you introduce yourself?
The leader of the secret investigation team and the hero who brought peace back to two worlds. You can call him whatever you want, but officially, his name is Narukami, a high school boy who was sent off to live with his uncle for the next year while his parents were overseas. It was supposed to be a quiet year, since Inaba is kind of a nowhere town out in the sticks. But as to be expected, I suppose, it ended up being something entirely different. Murders, the Midnight Channel, and the existence of a whole new world accidentally discovered when he entered through a television screen. When the fog lifts in that other world and appears in Inaba, anybody still inside that world will also reappear in Inaba, but as a corpse. With no one to rely on but themselves, you and his friends formed the investigation team so they may prevent any more deaths and to catch the culprit behind it all, using the power of their true selves in a fight to return Inaba back to its days of quiet peace. But today, Yu is in for yet another fight, as you guys want to see just how he'd fare if he were ever dropped into the world of Super Smash Bros. So getting right into things, I see you as a somewhat above average midweight class fighter. Well, not you, but you. This is gonna get confusing. Anyway, he'd have 2 jumps and he would be able to wall jump. So at first thought, a lot of you are probably thinking you to have a similar gimmick to Joker, same series and all. And in most circumstances, you'd probably be right. However, if it weren't for the fact that a little game called Persona 4 Arena exists, a game that already gives you a well-established fighting style, then he might have been more similar to Joker. But nope, Arena does in fact exist, so I will be building this moveset around that type of fighting style for you, combining it with other aspects that we see directly from Persona 4. The way I see it, let's keep Joker's multi-tiered rebellion gimmick specific to the Persona 5 characters. It's designed as a comeback mechanic to rebel against the fate that your opponent is trying to set for you, perfectly fitting for its themes. Persona 4, on the other hand, is themed around seeking out the truth, fighting the deceit for a better tomorrow unclouded by lies. And for the most part, that will come to light in this moveset as a fairly straightforward fighting style. No tricks, just an honest beatdown at the end of his trusty katana, which he's somehow able to hide inside of his school uniform. Like, really? Whatever, let's just jump right into Yu's attacks, starting with his jab. He could have a 3-hit jab that comes directly from his critical hit animation, which returned as a basic attack during his Persona 5 optional boss fight. It starts with a horizontal slash to the left, followed by a vertical downward slash, then ends with a leaping vertical slash up to launch foes into the air. For Yu's dash attack, he could use a move first used in Persona 4 Arena, the Raging Lion. When initiated, Yu does a short leap into the air during the startup, then dives forward towards the ground for a lunging sword stab to launch away anyone in his path. The side tilt can be a simple sword slash, swinging his katana forward with a slight diagonal angle, mimicking his basic attack done both in battle and in the overworld. A decent disjointed move to help keep opponents at bay, or to back attack them if they get sloppy. His up tilt can be a strong crouch attack from Arena, having him do a vertical sword slash straight up from low to high. A nifty little disjointed anti-air attack that's great for punishing those trying to come in from above. And then his down tilt can be a simple crouching sword sweep, great to poke out opponents and to set up potential combos. Now moving on to use smash attacks, this is where he chooses to call for a little backup. Though in this case, I think it's more appropriate to say that he'll have his own back. Like all who seal a contract, Yu is able to fight alongside his true self. Summoned from an Arcana card, all he has to do is utter one word.
So...
The ancient god Izanagi, a powerful persona capable of striking fear into all who dare oppose him. In this moveset, you will summon Izanagi whenever he uses very specific attacks, including all 3 of his smash attacks. For his side smash, he can use a move directly pulled from Arena. In fact, all of the Izanagi smash attacks will be just that. The side smash specifically has you summon Izanagi to his side, leading Izanagi charging forward while dragging his sword across the ground. Then at the end of the charge, he pulls his sword up for a powerful stab. The longer you charge this move, the further Izanagi will dash. Foes on the ground in Izanagi's way while he charges will be dragged along. If they're in the air, then they'll only be popped away, acting as a sour spot on the move. If they are dragged along, then they'll take major damage when stabbed at the end of the dash, which will stun opponents in that spot for a second, then launch them away. They'll only be stunned if they're dragged. Getting hit by the stab only launches them immediately. It should also be noted that Izanagi will never go past a ledge, but the range of his sword can still make it a decently scary edge pressuring tool. But that's not all. If you press the attack button again at the moment Izanagi does his stab, he'll follow it up with a strong downward vertical swing with his sword. This is good to use to extend the attack if you think the stab itself won't connect, but the slash could. Of course, if you use this after dragging and stunning a foe, this extra attack only adds extra insult, dealing additional damage and launching them even further than what the stab can do by itself. For the up smash, this can have Izanagi appear in front of you, then swing his sword straight up from low to high, launching anyone hit by the blade straight into the air. This fairly simple attack comes from the anything but simple Thunder God hand technique in Arena. Seriously, this attack is so impractically difficult to pull off. I tried for hours and I just couldn't do it. So a huge thanks to my fighting game savvy buddy Platinum Rhythm for supplying this footage of it for all of us. Anyway, then there's the down smash. This is a fairly unique one. While charging the move, Izanagi appears and flies high into the air, and once the move is released, he dives down, stabbing his sword into the ground in the spot in front of where you activated the down smash. The longer you charge this move, the higher into the air Izanagi will fly before charging down. Opponents hit by Izanagi as he falls will be spiked. Izanagi also doesn't immediately disappear when he hits the ground. He'll remain there for a bit, so long as you don't use another move that summons Izanagi. So if an opponent on the ground is stabbed by Izanagi's sword, they'll be pinned into that spot, leaving them open for you to follow up on them if you so wish. How do you follow up, you ask? Well, that's actually a common theme among the smash attacks, as well as other attacks that involve Izanagi for that matter. You'll be able to move you before Izanagi's attack animations end, allowing you to work off of Izanagi for follow-up combos. This turns you into a puppet master-like character, utilizing Izanagi at the right times to really put your opponents under pressure. In which case, for the aerials, his neutral air can have him swing his sword around his body horizontally a single time, quickly swinging from back to front to hit all around himself. A great little neutral option to keep opponents off of you or to use in potential combo strings. The forward air can have you slash forward while aiming his sword slightly down. Despite this being a single slash, this move actually hits twice. One flinching hit, then a launching hit. The back air is the first true innovated attack that I'm giving him. You could thrust his katana under his arm to stab it behind himself, taking anyone attempting to sneak up on him by surprise. Trying to get the drop on someone who's made it his duty to see past all deception is not a very smart move after all. The up air, another innovated move, can show you thrusting his sword upward horizontally, slightly pushing the blade side a little higher. Another great disjointed attack that covers a lot of area above him, making it hard to beat out. And for the down air, you could do a traditional falling kick, dropping down to the ground with slight forward momentum to kick anyone below him. This move can spike at the start of the attack, and it will cancel itself if it takes too long to hit the ground, allowing the chance for you to recover if used offstage. Just like in Arena, you could grab opponents with his free hand and he could pummel with a simple knee jab. For the forward throw, he could use Heroic Bravery, where he tosses the foe into the air, then does a spin to hit them with his katana and slash them away. The back throw can have you pull the foe around, then roundhouse kick them away. The up throw can be Yu's usual throw attack in Arena, where he simply swings his foot straight up to kick the foe in the chin, knocking them into the air. And the down throw can have you knock the foe to the ground, then stab them with his katana while it emits electricity, electrocuting them to rack up damage before the built-up power knocks them away. How is his sword suddenly electrocuting people? Well, that'll make more sense once we go over the special attacks. For Yu's neutral special, he pulls from Izanagi's power to call on destructive lightning magic. He'll be using different tiers of his lightning magic depending on how long you hold the button down during activation. Tapping the button has Izanagi appear next to you and perform Zio, the weakest of the spells. He uses it like he does in Arena, simply throwing forward a small shock ball projectile. It deals small flinching damage and disappears on contact. If you hold the button down for a fraction of the max time, Izanagi will use the mid-tier lightning spell, Zionga. Instead of a shock ball, Izanagi fires a lightning bolt projectile. It deals more damage and causes a lot of hit stun, but it also disappears on contact. Then finally, if you hold the button down for the full duration, Izanagi will fire the strongest of his lightning spells, Zeodyne. He shoots a long-ranged lightning beam projectile, dealing heavy damage and piercing through all opponents. Unlike in Arena, where this move is based on, it's pretty instant when fired, so it can be dodged easily if need be, but it's still quite the devastating attack if you aren't careful. Regardless of which spell you use though, you will be able to move before Izanagi finishes his animation, making this another great tool to follow up on. Next, for the side special, this can have you use the skill called Cleave. This has you dash forward with his sword, then at the end of the dash, or if he runs into another player, he slashes forward with a cleaving strike. It's your run-of-the-mill dash special, being usable as a recovery move, to close in, disengage, or even as a cross-up option. What isn't so run-of-the-mill about this special, though, is what happens if you press the special button again the moment Yu swings his sword at the end of the dash. This will cause you to summon Izanagi from above and drop down with a strong falling slash, turning the move into Izanagi's signature cross slash. Foes hit by Izanagi's cross slash take a lot of damage and they are guaranteed to be spiked. However, there is a caveat to this. Where using Cleave in the air will not put you into freefall, with it only having some end lag after each use, using Cross Slash in the air will make him freefall. So while you can use this to spike opponents off stage, this will more often than not lead to you falling to his demise as well. And that's assuming you can even land it in the first place, because if you miss, you will just fall with no value earned in the end. Now for Yu's up special, he could perform a variation of the skill called Rising Slash. Activating it has Yu do a high rising slash with his electrified katana, recreating the big gamble move from Arena. By itself, it's another run-of-the-mill attack. He leaps up, anyone in his way will get dragged along with him, then launched at the peak height of the leap. If you press the special button again during the leap though, at said peak height, Izanagi will be summoned over you to perform an overhead swing with his sword, extending the move's hitbox. And of course, foes initially dragged up by Yu's sword will be launched even higher into the air when they're hit by Izanagi's sword. It should be noted, the normal version of Rising Slash will not put Yu into freefall, but it can only be done once per airtime. Using the Izanagi version of it, however, will put you into free fall, so be careful not to mash buttons if you're trying to recover reliably. And lastly, for Yu's down special, this can have him perform the skill called Swift Strike. Normally a basic physical skill in the Persona games, this special will be pulling more from Arena, though I am adding my own twists to it as well. On the ground, Izanagi appears and the two will ride electricity to slide across the ground while performing slide kicks, though Izanagi will also be holding his sword forward at the same time. This is another excellent movement option, getting you lower to the ground to pass under higher attacks. Foes in their way will get paralyzed in place, then launch soon after, and the slide will not stop at ledges, so it can even be used for some offstage follow-ups. Swift Strike will change, however, if it's used in the air. Yu and Izanagi will instead drop straight down. The same damaging effects still apply, but when Yu hits the ground, he stabs his sword into the dirt to cause electricity to shoot out on both sides of himself. Foes hit directly by the electricity will be paralyzed even longer than they would be if hit by Yu and Izanagi, but if they are hit by Yu and Izanagi on their way down, they will get spiked. The falling Swift Strike, however, has to hit the stage in order to stop, so using it over the blast zone will result in a stock loss. For Yu Narukami's final smash, he could use the ever iconic all-out attack. It starts with Izanagi appearing to call down lightning strikes in the area in front of you, and any player too close will get pulled in. Then, just like in Persona 4, you will be accompanied by 3 of his friends from the investigation team. Sometimes we'll see Yosuke, Chie, and Yukiko, and other times we'll see Kanji, Naoto, and Teddy. The 4 teammates all rush in on the foes, beating them down with a large cartoon dust cloud, racking up tons of damage until it ends. This final smash, by the way, cannot launch foes, only KO them automatically if their damage goes over 100% before the all-out attack ends. And as a funny detail, if no opponents are going to be KO'd by this, then it shows Yu and his friends constantly getting thrown out of the scuffle during it, just like in Persona 4 if an all-out attack fails to take anyone out. But now with all of that said, the all-out attack is just one of Yu's final smashes. He actually has a second. The all-out attack will only be shown if Izanagi's initial lightning strike catches 2 or more players. But if it only catches 1 foe, then Izanagi will transfigure. A scene will play out with Izanagi no Okami, and he will perform the attack, Myriad Truths, striking that poor single foe down the same way he did to Izanami at the end of Persona 4. By all accounts, it's the same final smash with a different coat of paint, dealing the same amount of damage as the all-out attack and automatically KOing that foe if their damage goes over 100%. for Yu's alternate colors, he does already have quite a number of already existing ones that exist in Persona 4 Arena, so I will be pulling mostly from that. Izanagi, however, despite having existing alts in Arena as well, will always remain the same. The default alt shows Yu in his Yasogami High School uniform, the same that he and his friends also use as their official investigation uniform so that they can sneak their weapons around without getting into trouble. I still have no clue how Yu is able to sneak a whole katana around under his clothes, but whatever. In terms of the arena alts that I've chosen to give him, the first alt can be his color number 2, showing you in a kind of inverted color scheme, switching the black and white colors of his default attire. His next can be color number 3, which shows you with bright greenish hair in a red uniform. Then we're skipping straight to color number 19, which has you with pure green hair and a more dirty brown-yellow colored uniform. Next is color 23, which gives him a blue color scheme reminiscent of that of the Velvet Room. Here's color 28, giving him brown hair and a pink uniform, which more than likely references his little cousin, Nanako. Then here we have something slightly more original, though it also comes from color 31 in Arena, giving you a yellow color scheme to match Persona 4's thematic yellow color. And for his final, it can be an alternate costume, putting you in his Yasogami High summer uniform. He did wear this for a fair amount of the game, so it only feels right that he should get it here as well. For the stage intro, a square portal appears and Yu comes out of it onto the battlefield, implying that he's entering this world from a television in his own world, just like how he travels between worlds in Persona 4. For taunts, his first can show him putting his hand behind his neck to adjust his head. This is a fairly common animation that we see Yu do across games. His second can have him recreate his Arcana Shift animation, where he pulls a card out of nowhere and flips it in front of his face. This normally implies that he's changing his current persona, but here it's just a taunt. You'll be using Izanagi no matter what. And for his final taunt, he'll hold his hand forward in a Bring It On style while saying a quote. This references an animation from Arena if he wins a round. And finally, for Yu's victory animations, his first can be his usual victory animation after defeating Shadows in Persona 4, where he stands upright while adjusting his glasses. The camera also zooms in on his face as he does this, so that it ends replicating his profile during the result screen after battles. His second can be one of his Arena victory animations, showing him flip his katana around, then stab it into the ground. And for his final, it can first show Yu face the screen with his arms over his chest and his Arcana card floating in front of him. That is until the card bursts into Izanagi, who slashes at the screen. Afterward, you just see Yu standing there with his back to the camera and sword at his side. The initial part references the original Persona 4 opening, where Yu's pose afterward references another victory animation that he had in Persona 4 Arena. And that does it for What If Yu Narukami was in Smash? So, if you enjoyed what you saw and would like to see even more characters be given possible Smash movesets, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to support the show, you can click the join button below the video, the one on my main page, or the link in the description to become a sponsor for my channel. Doing so will get you access to my Discord server, channel emotes, as well as the option to watch these episodes early, on top of so much more. And of course, if you have a character that you want to see be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below, or contact me on Twitter at BrawlFan1 on Twit. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching!